This is my second video, and I have a slightly better idea of what I'm doing. So I want to talk about books that can help you get to where you want to be. Books like Atomic Habits, books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, books like The Four Agreements, which is what I'm reading right now. It's a great book. I very much enjoy it. Learning from people who already know things because of how long they've lived or experience they've had. Maybe you didn't get to have that experience, so learning from them can give you a step up on some other people who aren't willing to learn from people because they don't trust them, or maybe they just don't want to, or they don't care enough. There's books like Atomic Habits, which in the beginning it's just basic stuff like do some small things and over time it'll compound into one big thing and overall improve your mental health for sure. Things like making your bed every morning or cleaning your room, things like going to the gym. All these small things compounding into one big thing is insane for growth. You wouldn't think something like making your bed every morning would improve your mental health that much, but it does. The book Atomic Habits talks about a lot of things, including getting over addictions. Maybe you're addicted to video games, maybe you're addicted to cigarettes, maybe you're addicted to smoking pot, maybe you're addicted to drinking, maybe you're addicted to partying. Could be anything. The book kind of tells you how to break those habits and to create better ones. One of the things he talks about is making it easy to do the good habit and hard to do the bad habit. Maybe you lock your cigarettes in a lockbox you need to use a combination for. So locking your cigarettes in something that you need a combination for will make it harder for you to get to it, and you might just feel like it's not worth it. And then taking something you should be doing every day, like maybe you take your protein powder and you put it on your counter in the kitchen right next to where the blender is to make it easier to make your protein shakes. That could make you want to make them more often because it's easier to get to them and it's more worth it to do it. Small things like that make a big difference. And if you try them, you'll find that out like sooner than later. But you gotta stay consistent with it or else it's not gonna do anything. One thing you'll notice when you start to make small improvements in your life and you start to go to the gym often, or your mental health is improving, and you realize things other people haven't realized, there will be a lot of people who hate you for it because they're not there and they wish they were, and they don't understand what you're doing, and they won't understand you. So they'll think that you're just like, for some reason they'll think you're like some kind of evil being, and that happens quite often to pretty much everyone. No, not pretty much everyone. Everyone that starts to improve experience in insane amount of people who are just hateful and angry, and it all comes from within themselves, so it's not your fault. And it's hard to feel like that sometimes because these could be people you care about that do that to you, and when that happens it feels like shit. But you have to remind yourself that it's not you, it's them, it's their emotions that are causing them to feel this way. It has nothing to do with you yourself. You're not the problem. If they're feeling that way, that's on them. You can't blame yourself for how they feel because they create their emotions and you create your emotions. So if you're feeling bad about them treating you poorly, that's your fault for feeling that way because you have control of your emotions. And in the book, The Four Agreements, it talks about that. It talks about not taking things personally. And it talks about how people's anger or jealousy comes from within themselves and has nothing to do with you. It's just their issues coming out a certain way, and you're the target because you're an easy target, and I'm an easy target too. So I've got a lot of people who will hate on me and treat me poorly, and sometimes it does affect me negatively, and I have to remind myself that I shouldn't be taking it personally because it's their own mental health that is poor. It is their words that are poisonous, not mine. And sometimes I make the mistake of fighting back and being rude back when really I should just understand that it's not my fault they're feeling this way towards me. It's their emotions, and I should let them process it and kind of just let it go, move on from it, because it's not my fault. And sometimes that can be hard, but there's another book called The Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's a Stoic philosopher who was a ruler in ancient times. And he talks a lot about how you can keep frame in hard times, and things are rough. You can remind yourself that you don't have to feel bad about it. You have the choice. It isn't easy to do, but it's kind of like needed. If you want to grow as a person, you're gonna have to go through these things. There's no one that grows and doesn't hit these points where people are hating on them and treating them poorly or just jealous or angry. So learning how to deal with that emotion from other people while not completely discarding them is important, because we are people, and people are in tribes for a reason. We grow this way for a reason. We're supposed to be around other people for a reason. It's just human nature. So if you want to grow as a person, you have to be able to let go of what other people say, or else it's going to be really painful. Your whole life is going to be just really painful, because you're going to want the company of others, even if they treat you that way. And if you try to discard them, you'll feel really lonely, and you'll end up going back to people that treat you that way. Because everyone makes mistakes, so like even people, if you make really good friends, sometimes they'll still get mad at you, and you'll still have to deal with it. So you might as well learn now how to deal with people talking poorly about you. And these books help with that. They kind of teach you how to understand that it's not your fault. And they're just great to read as well. Sit down with a cup of coffee, do a little bit of reading. It's always just a nice and enjoyable experience, especially like by a window, maybe get some sun or outside. Just a very beautiful process. So if you want to grow, don't be afraid to read these books from other people who have experienced things you haven't, because I think there's a quote or something that goes like, smart people learn from their mistakes, wise people learn from the mistakes of others. And the easiest way to do that right now is to read books, because those people made mistakes in order to find out the truth. And they're truths that you haven't gotten to yet. And if you learn them now, even if you have to relearn them in the future, you're getting a step up. And don't let people hating you bring you down. And don't take it personally, because it's their internal suffering. It has nothing to do with you as a person or who you are. It's just them feeling poor about themselves, and they have to take it out on something, or else it'll like tear them up inside. It's not your fault. So I guess the moral of this video is learn from other people, and don't take things too personally, because, you know, it's their emotion, not yours. I hope you enjoyed my second video. I hope to make a third and keep the ball rolling. I'm very excited for the future of these videos. I feel like I'm getting better already. I mean, the last video was kind of rough. This video is probably still kind of rough, but the more I do it, the more I'll learn. Just gotta put myself out there and take the hate I get from others, you know, and not take it too personally, because I'm putting myself out there, and that's a good thing, no matter what anyone says. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.